going red.
I'm Kirby Cakes with Super Duty Ford Truck Parts in Morehead, Kentucky, and we are going to be converting the customer's 2004 Ford Excursion and putting an 11 to 16 front end on it. It will involve tearing off all the existing sheet metal and running boards, and so we can get room to get the fender access. Or go ahead, Tommy. Yeah. Next thing we're going to do is take the front bumper and the hood off. After that, we're going to pull the front bumper off. We've got some of the bolts already taken out, obviously, so the video is not 72 minutes long. When Tom and we get back, we'll pull the bumper off, disconnect the fog lights, remove the last screw in the grill. And we'll be ready to pull the front bumper off. These do have fog lights that are plugged in, so we will have to slide the bumper forward a little bit to get to the brackets where they're attached. Also, the glow plug-in for the glow plugs is also connected, and it'll have to be moved to the bumper as well. Our next step will be to take the sheet metal off and the header panel, and we'll go from there. All right, stop. All right. Just got the package in. My customer had ordered a mounting conversion kit and left it at home in Arkansas and had to actually have it overnighted to himself. The name of that company is on the box, and I'll show you later. Not a big fan, but it's what he wanted us to use. So we do have all the remaining sheet metal and parts, inner fenders, wiper cowl and stuff off. We're gonna go ahead and peel the factory fender flares off both fenders and get started notching on this so we can get started hanging the mounting kit. All right, so we got in and got to doing some of the notching, and I hadn't paid very close attention, but when you come in here and look, this thing had been wrecked before. And they adjusted it underneath the mounting bracket here and in several other places with a sledgehammer and blocks of wood. And as you can see they basically elongated the hole on the fender and slotted it and had it all the way to one side. As you can see, the fender all the way up and back. So what that means is the front structure of this truck is over, and we did check it with a tram gauge, and unfortunately, as you can see here, it's at a square pushed to the driver's side. It looks like about 1/4 of an inch, which will throw everything off a little bit, so we'll have to adjust moving forward. It just slows it down on the installation process of the kit. Plus, if you look down at the frame rails, you can see that the bumper ends and rails are damaged fairly significantly. Nothing that we can't solve with some time and heat on the very tips of the bumper mounting brackets. So gonna hold us up a little bit, but nothing we can't overcome. All right, making some progress on it. We've got the cutouts for the headlights to recess back in. We've masked the areas off and sanded it and prepped it. We're getting ready to finish notching the frame rails so that we can get some paint on that. We've got the hood in here, some minor places on it that we've got to repair. We've got the bumpers, front and rear. We've got the headlight, mounting panel, the hinges, the cowl panels, the wiper transmission. We've got the cutouts for the headlights primed, and where the frame rail's been cut, it's primed and ready for paint, which we'll do here within the hour. We went ahead and went back down to the other shop and grabbed the chrome grill just to have it here, mainly for the video. We've started a few little minor dings on the hood that we're gonna address tomorrow morning. We do have a situation I forgot about. The fender flares on the Excursion don't line up exactly, and I knew there was a fix, I just wasn't sure exactly. Talked to my good buddy Brandon Worthington. Thanks, Brandon. And he gave me the secret. We do have the bumpers to get painted and prepped in the morning and to get the mounting kit on the rest of the way, which we've just test fitted some things. And basically, we should be doing assembly on fenders and hood tomorrow afternoon at some point. I forgot about the hood hinges. We'll do that in the morning. They need to be slotted so that they will slide backwards and forwards from the original mounting points and give us that extra room for the alignment, considering it's going on a 2004 and the parts are designed to fit on an 11 to 16. All right, so quick update. Believe it or not, this is just for a bunch of rock chips. They're so deep, we're having to actually do some filler and then feather it out. Getting the bumpers stripped down over there. You've got the paint work. I went ahead and primed it and base coated and clear coated right here where cutout was. They should have done that from the factory, but they didn't. We painted the frame rail ends. Same thing on this side. The mounting kit is partially installed. We've got Willie taping off this door. It's got a dent that runs slightly all the way over halfway down, so we're gonna have to blend and partially repair that. Plus, the previous owner had some repair work done, and the line on here is 2 layers deep, 1 layer that it's been clear coated over and another one that's just basically a sticker. And so that means we're gonna end up having to leave it on the whole truck. And then when this is done, we'll end up having to find something that matches it and put the pinstripe back on the front fender, unless he wants to repaint the entire Excursion. So that's not exactly what we wanted, but it's what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna start modifying the flares in the morning. Should go from there. We're doing some straight blocking on this door that had a crease and some lip damage that we didn't see until we actually got in and started doing the final prep and taping off of the door. We were also able to get the hood hinges slotted and mounted. We also have the mounting kit installed. As you can see, we also have the grill mounted. Where this truck had some previous repair damage, it's been a real challenge to try and get things squared. This side lines up really well, and unfortunately, the other side does not. So moving back on over here, I'm stripping down this bumper. This bumper came from an F550, so it did have an additional fender flare on it that I've got to fill the holes in, and got to get it prepped and ready for paint. Again, that's going to happen tonight. The lights are pretty bright, but the rear bumper, this came off of a 2016 King Ranch. It's actually called Caribou, and so in order for the rear sensors, for the backup sensors on the Excursion to work, we had to take a bumper off of a 11 to 16 Super Duty with the rear backup sensors, because you can't retrofit the other sensors into a bumper, because the plastic that surrounds the hitch area in the center, the backup sensor is made into it. So we're using, I guess this is one of the Mac DAs we've got, but the nice thing about this is we're using the hook and loop system from 3M, and it's not cheap, but it is worth its weight in gold. It's so easy to use. You can reuse all the sandpaper on the Durablocks for small stuff. I mean, we use every bit of the sandpaper multiple times before we're done using it.
That was great.
All right, so I've been sanding for the last approximately 3 hours to get all the scratches and scrapes out of this bumper that I got a great deal on. Trying to get the camera figured out. That's the problem. Instead of buying a nice slick bumper for $500 or $600, I bought this one for a little bit less with a few buddies that were equally scratched up. And now, because of that, I've spent the last 3 hours sanding, and will probably have to do at least 2 coats of primer, and most likely have to wet sand all of that out once it's done. Not really a good deal now, is it, for me? So, quick heads up, that is definitely not a good deal. You're better off in the long run if you are paying someone to do this, to get nice, slick, clean parts. The scratch and dinged up parts are great if you're doing it yourself and your time's not very valuable. But in this situation, I've got employees working with me. The front bumper was rough. The rear bumper took maybe 30 minutes total. All right, so we got the paint mixing system installed today. It's pretty awesome. Got all of our pearls and everything else. So I'm just kind of learning this stuff. But we have everything here. We're ready to get started and paint. All right, we are choosing some paint colors for the flares. And it just so happens in this year of Arizona beige, there are 9 color variations. So depending on when it was produced, what plant, what color options, what day, and who was drinking the night before, it could be one of any of these 9 color variations, and possibly some others as well. So we went through these in 3 or 4 different lights with a flashlight, and it was pretty obvious that this one right here, which is variation R, in different lights was the closest. I mean, there are some that are not even remotely close. There are some that are closer, but in the different lights, this one is by far the best match. I actually now have to do the same thing on the front door to match the 15, I believe, color variations for the white. We're going to do that next. Okay, so I was wrong. There aren't 15 color variations, there are 10. So in 2004, there were 10 variations. Again, depending on when the truck was built, what plant, and who mixed the paint, that batch, that series. So there are 10 different paint chips, and we went through them on this side, on the back corner, and around the side, and we're able to decide between 2. And then I tried it again on different lights, shut the lights up in here, and variation LR, which I don't know what that means. I just know that's the variation that has the best match in multiple different lights. So that's what we're going to be mixing, and hopefully I'll be going home in the next 30 minutes or so, and hopefully we can get this painted tonight. All right, so I'm getting ready to head home for tonight. Tomorrow we've got to get the paint work finished, and we've got to get the cow panels modified to ready to get them installed. And then we also have to modify the wiper transmission. So basically we'll be taking the wiper transmission off of the 04 Excursion wiper transmission, which is outside, and putting it on the 11 to 16 linkage, and then a few modifications and bolting it in. So hopefully we'll be able to do that, get the painted bumpers put on, the brackets modified for it, and then hang some sheet metal once it's dry enough to touch in the morning. We're going to let it bake all night here in the body shop and the paint shop, and then hopefully we'll be able to get final assembly done, and this guy can drive it home tomorrow night late.